Once upon a time. Welcome to Australian Book Lovers, your destination for imagination.
And welcome, book lovers. We have an extra special episode for you this evening. We've got our end of the year wrap up, and we've been able to gather some, I was going to say reprobates, but that's not fair, is it? We're some fabulous Australian book lover authors. And we probably should introduce ourselves first. So, co-host, introduce yourself.
Well, hello everybody for this very special New Year's Eve Australian Book Lovers podcast. Very first New Year's Eve special Australian Book Lovers podcast. Well, I guess end of year because it's technically not New Year's Eve, but celebrating as it might as well be. But I am host Darren coming to you today from Corner Country, ready to enjoy some fantastic company, which is made the whole podcast worthwhile.
Indeed, and I completely forgot to say who I was. So, you didn't call me on that, Darren. So this
Got
is
me on the
Veronica
spot.
You were waiting for me to introduce myself. Coming to you today, as always, from Warrawong Country on Wurundjeri, part of the Kulin Nation down in Victoria. So we're just going to do a quick around to say hello. So, Kevin.
Oh, I'm first.
You're
Hello,
first.
I'm Kevin Klehr. I'm here on Gadigal land, part of the Eora Nation. And I'm an Australian author with a small queer American publisher. And this year I released my 10th book.
That is
Wow.
That's brilliant.
Wow.
That's really
Well
good.
Yes.
We're going to hear more about your books too. And Sandy, tell us say hello.
Hi, everybody. This is Sandy Barker. I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri land of the Kulin Nation, and I write the holiday romance series and other fun rom-coms set in beautiful locations.
Indeed, they are, including a Christmas story, which we're going to get back to. Thanks, Sandy. Laurie.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, I'm Laurie Bell. I'm a science fiction and fantasy writer with all sorts of bits and pieces, blogger, short stories, long stories. I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri land as well.
Excellent. That's 3 for Victoria. We're doing good. Okay. Hayley, hello to you.
Hello. I'm Hayley Walsh, so I'm a self-published author of lighthearted fiction, and I'm coming to you all from far western Sydney, Darren country.
Excellent. And last but definitely not least, we have Maria. Hello, Maria.
Oh, hi. I'm Maria Frino, and I write 3 different genres. I write contemporary, family sagas, and also science fiction. And
Brilliant.
I'm coming to you from Gadigal country of the Eora Nation.
Excellent. Excellent. So, who's won out, New South Wales or Victoria? I think we've gone half. We've got South Australia. Yeah. Sorry, South
We're in
Australia.
South Australian wing.
Yeah. We're just
Absolutely.
going to, slide past South Australia there. Sorry, Darren.
That's all right. Surprisingly, that's the way we like it because we don't want anybody to know the magic down this way. Far be it for us to turn into a Sydney or Melbourne.
Oh, yes. Yeah, them's fun words.
I do love South Australia myself, I must say. I do love Adelaide.
And I do love Sydney, especially the Central Coast, though, of New South Wales, absolutely. And, of course, born in Victoria, so I've got
Yes.
I'd say
me too.
told, but a couple of toes around the place as well.
Yeah, which is lovely. So, Kevin, 10 books. Amazing.
Yes.
I'm
So
shrinking
tell
in my
us
chair already.
That 2021 was obviously very kind to you. Tell us about it.
Well, I released my 10th book. I'm with a small publisher called Nine Star Press, who does rainbow publishing. And I've got a whole bunch of both novellas, which are only available as ebooks, and novels, which are both ebook and print. And my 10th book, which I've been working on for a few years, is called The Midnight Man, about a man who's about to turn 50. His name's Stan. He's not happy with his life. He's in a failed relationship, has an overbearing mother. And then he meets the man of his dreams, literally in his dreams, a young man named Asher, who gives him the gift of being 5 years younger every time they meet. So eventually he keeps getting younger. And because Ash is 21, he's closer to Ash's age and things start happening. But it's not really a romance. I've only written 2 romance books, even though people assume I write romance. A lot of my work is magic realism, urban fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a dystopian novel called Social Media Central, which the sequel, Virtual Insanity, is coming out next year.
That seems like a really apt title for this year.
We're all at the brink of insanity.
Oh, there you go. How did you find writing this year? Did things flow for you? What kept you going?
For me, I can't write when there's someone in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And over lockdown, I got no writing done, basically. So for 4 months, I just had to decide, well, all my projects are on hold.
Mm-hmm.
I can do promotional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can spend more time on social media. I like shooting trailers for my novels with actual actors.
Mm.
And so the plans for this one for The Midnight Man just totally fell. So I put together these author readings with stock footage. Mm-hmm. And put them together to give us a sample of the book. And even with my next novel, Virtual Insanity, I've already spoken to the actor because I want to try to get it filmed before any more lockdowns, whatever Omicron does.
Yes,
I just want to get in there now and shoot it. Have a friend with the studio, have my actor.
Yep.
Just want to get it done.
Fair enough. So, Sandy, let's switch over to you. You have also been fairly prolific this year.
Well, I have to say the opposite, Kevin. I just have put my head down, and it's been my escape has been writing, and I'm really fortunate. I've been one of those authors where it's like, okay, you're in lockdown. It's either watch Netflix on, continuously, or just lock myself away. And I have one book out this year called The Dating Game, and it only just occurred to me that I wrote the entire book in lockdown, and it's about it's based loosely on the show The Bachelor. So what is funny to me, and it only occurred to me after the book came out, was that they are in lockdown. Like, they are all in this house together in this reality show, and they can't leave. And when it occurred to me, I laughed really long and hard. I'm like, oh my God, I wrote a lockdown book during lockdown.
So your muse was channeling it anyway, regardless of whether you were conscious of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like all of the characters in that book are just like, parts of my personality in lockdown. The Dating Game came out September, and the print book just came out. But I've just been kind of chipping away at my holiday romance series. So last year, 2 books came out, and next year I've got 2 more books coming out. And I've just handed over edits for book 4 in the series, which is coming out in February. It's called A Sunrise Over Bali. I've seen the cover. It's so gorgeous, but they're going to release it in January because my publisher is actually in the UK, and they're like, after Christmas, everyone just wants to think about summer holidays. So we'll release the cover for Bali, and they'll go mad for that. And that's great fun. And what's fun is I just actually saw today it's charting. It's charting in the UK. Like, people are like, Bali, escape, because, the UK is just, thank you. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, they've gone, back into lockdown and all sorts of things, and it's cold and anyway, so that's happening. And then I've got another book coming out called A Wedding in Tuscany. That'll be mid next year, and that kind of wraps up the series. Yeah, and I'm working on my Christmas book for 2022 now.
It's very good.
It's just I feel like there's no respite. Like, sometimes I hand over a book and I'm like, oh my God, I can have 3 days off. And just, that's when people see me on Twitter and I'm like, tweet like 60 times a day.
She's back.
She's back from the, Yeah.
So Sandy, who are you publishing with?
So my publisher's called One More Chapter. They're an imprint of HarperCollins UK. They're digital first, so my books always come out in ebook, and then a few months later they'll come out in print.
Mm-hmm. And how did they look after you during lockdown? Was there extra things that they did for their authors?
Yeah, look, I have to say they're a very small team actually, and 3 of them had COVID over the last year and a half. I know. So the fact that they kind of kept the lights on and brought on new authors and published something like 90 books, I'm just in awe of the work that they've done. So I have to say a big shout out to my my editor, Jenny Rothwell. Like she made sure I had my print copies of The Dating Game as soon as possible, and they arrived and they were so beautiful. So yeah, look, they're just amazing, the work they do. They actually, it feels like there's a team of like 40 people, but it's only, I think, 8 or 9 of them. So yeah, they've done really well this year.
Well, that's good. So Laurie, tell us what was happening in the science fiction world.
Do you know, I brought out a book in January. I had a book published in January, and it feels like it was years ago.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, well, that one is a collection of short stories. It's called The Good, the Bad, and the Undecided, which is actually an anthology of 12 short stories that were cut, or bits of, were cut from my science fiction White Fire, which came out a couple of years ago. Yeah, well, it was one of those things where I'd originally got, because I wrote White Fire so long ago, that it was a multi-point of view that was very, very large. It seemed to just keep growing. So when I decided to pull that into a single point of view, I had all this material that was cut that was just their own stories, and I felt really bad to cut them all. They were great stories and great points of view, and I really wanted to get that put together somehow. So during lockdown, I gathered them all up and finished them all off, and hopefully they make sense. It was during lockdown. It's hard to know what made sense anymore.
They did. I wanted to go back and read White Fire again, but I'm saving myself for when the next book comes out.
Well, I've got about 5 chapters left to write of that one, actually. So I have been working on book 2.
Good.
But again, with all the lockdowns in Melbourne, as you'd know, Veronica, it's very hard to concentrate for long periods of time. I've really struggled with that this year. So even though I've got my 3rd book with my small publisher based out of the US, my book 3 of the Butterfly Stone stories, the Stones of Power, and so that was written during lockdown. And again, it feels like it was forever ago that I put that together and went through that whole editing process. So, yeah, I feel like I haven't done anything.
But when you've just said you completed a whole book.
I know.
Published a book.
I'm constantly feeling these days like I should be doing more.
Well, we're only halfway into the introductions, and you think I'm not feeling like I've done anything. Oh Lordy, I might disappear for the next half an hour.
No. You've got to do the hopes for the 2022.
Yes.
So, Laurie, what were other highlights? Perhaps were there things happening in your writing life that feel like, that's how I want to feel for next year?
It's a really good way of putting it, but I actually don't know how to put it into words. It's a really good question.
Okay.
Well, things like my short stories, I've been doing more interviews through various sci-fi magazines, and I feel like that has been getting me out in front of a bit more of an audience, and of course with the wonderful Australian book lovers, that's really helped as well. And I'm hoping that my book 3 of The Stones of Power will come out next year, hopefully. I haven't got a date on that one yet, so that certainly is what I'd be looking forward to. But yeah, I'm just chipping away at a whole bunch of different things at the moment. I've got 3 other books on the go. So. Of course. As you do.
Now, Laurie, you also do, I was going to say voiceovers. That's not quite right. You read stories. No, that's the word. Thank you.
Yeah, I love doing that.
Yeah.
There's a fantastic online science fiction website, which is Antipodium SF, which you have to jump on if you are a lover of science fiction and fantasy. And they do a weekly broadcast on the local stations, and they also podcast it, and they have a narration team. So I joined them a couple of years ago when I started writing some short stories for them. And yeah, it's great. I love reading other people's stuff. Oh, it's marvelous.
It's good. What about audiobooks yourself?
I hope so. I don't have time at the moment. That's my dream. I want to put that together, but I've just managed to invest in a good microphone and some bits and pieces. So I'm hoping to start figuring out how to put that together, because that's definitely what I'd like to be pushing for sure.
Very good. All right. Thank you. Now, Hayley, tell us a little bit about your highlights for this year, because you have also been very busy.
I have. Look, I'll start by talking about 2020. So 2020 was a huge year for me because I published my first 2 books, not having a clue what I was doing at all. So Twitter, has just been wonderful, and the people I've met. I don't think I would have got my books. I'm self-published. Now, 2021, I think the biggest achievement in my day job, many of you know I'm actually a nurse. So I've survived the pandemic without dropping dead from exhaustion. So I think that's a huge achievement.
And needs a round of applause. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, beyond an achievement. Wow.
Yeah, so 2021, another big achievement is I started my own little podcast, which the lovely Sandy Barker has been a guest on, which was lots of fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, so again, I had no idea what I was doing. But like anything, I throw myself in and go, I'm either going to sink or I'm going to swim. Yeah, so it's been lots of fun. Now with writing wise, I published Crayons and Chaos and Making March last year, which are both funny, lighthearted stories. Crayons and Chaos was based on my real life experience of becoming a stepmom to 2, how does she refer to them? Miniature terrorists with no kids of her own. And Making March is a story about a lady who turns 40 and has to face a crazy month of February and make it to March. So they're quite lighthearted and humorous. I'm currently working on Not Dead Yet, which is another little novella, and that's going to be published in March, on the 8th of March. So that's a story inspired by my work. So the protagonist is a 71-year-old lady called Mary, who is widowed, and it's about her adjusting to her new life in the retirement village. And, there's lots of bitchy women that she needs to deal with, and it's all the laughs along the way adjusting to her new life. And I'm still plugging away at Scattered Scones, which is a story really close to my heart. It's about a lady who's diagnosed with early dementia and coming to terms with her diagnosis and going on a crazy road trip with her best friend to try and reconnect with her daughter. So I'm currently on the 3rd draft of Scattered Scones, hoping to finish the 4th draft, and I'm hoping to actually enter that into Pitch Wars at some stage. Good. So that's where I'm at.
I really like that title too. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so she actually owns a bakery, so that's where the title came from. And Scattered Scones, scattered brain dementia. So yeah, that's where I came up with the title. So I'm very, very busy. I don't know how I fit it all in, but I keep plugging away.
I think you give nurses a job to do and they just get on and do it.
Yeah, I think, look, Veronica, I know you're a retired nurse as well. And I think it's a passion, isn't it? Something that you do. And we just get on with the job. Just
squeeze more into your day. Sure. Let's do 6 more things.
Yeah, so there's a lot happening. So I'm very busy.
Yeah. And your stories always have that lovely balance of the fun and the humor, but it's always around a significant life event or a sense of emotion or relationship. So it gives it a different interpretation. It allows you to look at some of these deeper things with a really lovely filter.
Yeah, look, and Not Dead Yet's really close to my heart as well, because I'm an aged care clinical nurse consultant. So some of the stories I hear from older people, especially older women, they feel invisible in society as they get older. So I wanted the protagonist to be an older woman and talk about the issues that she faces in a lighthearted way. So again, it's another one that's very close to my heart.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have more older protagonists. So Kevin's got a 50-something, you've got an older woman. So, bring it on.
Absolutely. Let them be seen. Absolutely. We don't want people to feel invisible.
No, let us be seen. I can say, speaking for an older woman who's just had a birthday. So,
Happy birthday.
thank you.
Happy birthday, yes.
Happy birthday
Oh, yeah.
to
To you.
I think I'm in trouble.
And I did get some
You
more books
forgot.
on birthday, so that was good. Maria, tell us
Yes.
about the highlights for you in 2021.
Well, 2021 has been amazing because I published 2 books this year.
Excellent.
One was the contemporary adult fiction, Two Men in a Shed, and the second one was the Zenya Station Trilogy. So
Which is just a brilliant combination.
totally different.
Yes.
The Zenya Station is YA plus, can be from anybody from say 16 plus.
Mm-hmm.
Two Men in a Shed I would recommend for adults, 21 plus.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 2 very different books. Zenya Station Trilogy came about because of a short story that I wrote quite a few years ago and only published in 2019. And the reviews were great and people were asking me, we want more of this, we want more of this. So Zenya Station Trilogy, came out in June.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm running a competition with it where you can win this little cool Lego kit.
Oh,
of
nice.
Excellent.
the Millennium Falcon and Han Solo,
Oh, very good.
and a few of my books. So
right. I mean,
Yes, I'm in too, Maria, because my younger stepson would absolutely love that.
oh, Hayley and Laurie, you're on the list.
Very good.
So that's just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And
How did you find your writing process?
And look, reasonably easy this year because I was home a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 elderly parents that I look after, but they were locked down. I was locked down, so we basically just spoke over the phone.
Mm.
So yeah, I sat down and did quite a bit of writing, a lot of marketing. A bit like you, Kevin. I just try anything to get
Yes,
things.
I know what you mean.
Get things out
I
there.
found newsletters are the best.
Yes, and I mean, I've met Kevin on Twitter and Hayley, and obviously Veronica and Darren. We met when you started, which is great. So yeah, it's been a really, really busy year, and I'm looking forward to 2022.
Excellent. So, Darren, I'm going to hand over 2022 to you.
Oh, there's a tricky one. 2022
I
for
want to
me.
know what Darren's been up to in 2021.
Ah, well,
Oh.
okay. Yes, because bring the guilt on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So you could probably mold some beautiful art if you were to pour some wax or liquid glass into the cracks of my halo, definitely for 2021. But no, look, hey, 2021 has been, well, as someone mentioned before, it feels like yesterday, but at the same time, it's a lifetime ago. I think you said, Laurie, it was like so long ago, the start of the year. At the start of the year, I was working for one company, and then in between there, my wife comes back after being away for 8 months. I take, time off and start with another company at the, 3/4 of the way through the year. But through it all, try and brought the Australian Book Lovers website up and running, and with Veronica, and it's just been amazing fun the whole way. It's also been hard work, don't get me wrong, but juggling everything in between. And now is the time when I guess sitting here with you all, it's like, wow, I feel like I know you all.
Yes.
And it's just fantastic. And the response that we've got has just been amazing. So if 2021 means anything, it's if you can imagine it, try it. And it's thanks to everybody that the inspiration still comes. But yes, as far as writing goes, well, this is where the juggling act comes, doesn't it? And
Yes.
unfortunately, I'm sitting here shrinking and getting more jealous by the second. But no, I'm 3/4 of the way through finishing the sequel to the Lisa Junior project, which is called Godless. And, I'm spending a lot of my time, if I can get away to the beach and walk, trying to work out where the cliffhanger will be for this one. And Laurie, I'm definitely being inspired mentally by Scooby-Doo and Doctor Who episodes.
Excellent. And Batman. Go to the 66 Batman. Great for cliffhangers.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but they were a little bit obvious, because you knew they were going to live. And sometimes I wanted Robinson, maybe not.
Oh, poor Robin.
I know, but he never did anything.
Sidekick always gets it.
He's if he tried to take over Batman, then I'd go, yes, go Robin.
Who else is there to say holy moly Batman?
That's right, exactly.
Guacamole Batman.
Yeah. And for some reason, I've got a loop of the, will they survive? But them walking along the outside of the building, which is clearly them just walking, standing up, holding a rope. But anyway, that's...
Don't ruin the magic. Come on, Darren.
There was no
children
magic there.
listening, Darren.
Hey, 50 Superman used to lie on a sheet of glass and just have the sky projected behind him.
Yes.
Yes, but 50 Superman had that episode where the aliens came down and played with some glowing ball, which actually terrified me as a child. So, yes, props for me, the 50 Superman.
But there's a good thing about obvious cliffhangers as well. Sometimes they work really well.
Yeah,
They do, because you've got to assume that the resolution is going to be obviously unobvious, if that's the word. I don't think it is. But yeah, so lead it up as though you know what's going to happen and then pull the rug out. But
I used to have a DVD of the 1940s Batman and the cliffhangers and the cliffhangers. It's like when they got to the next episode, they reinvented the ending of the last episode so he could survive. And you're thinking, but of course this was in cinemas like week after week, so kids probably didn't remember exactly how it ended, what the cliffhanger was, and they sort of brushed over a few easy things at the start of the next episode.
Filled in all the plot holes.
there you go. That's the solution to our problem. We've just got to withdraw all our first books when they get the sequel.
Just rewrite the last chapter.
And they go, it must have happened. Yeah.
Nice.
If only.
Yeah. But now looking forward to 2022. Obviously this year's been huge with, the opportunity to interview so many fantastic authors and famous, of course. But it's been a monumental task in the sense of so many people jumped on board, and we've done so many recordings, and we still have a lot of episodes to quickly produce. But next year we will have caught up, and then we can start actually, flowing as we'd like to. And that means, for me, for a personal perspective for 2022, it means getting to the fun stuff, which is writing again, of course, with Veronica, putting the finished touch on our novel and releasing that, but also starting to work on the music and production side of things to be able to start introducing, book trailers, book commercials and short story readings with soundtracks and effects and all that sort of stuff. So really looking forward to all of that.
Wonderful.
That sounds really cool.
That's great.
Really does
Look,
sound great.
COVID's got in the way of a lot of things, but Laurie, I'm still going to be giving you a call on the bat phone regarding doing some readings.
Excellent.
And asking for your
I
expertise.
can't wait to see it start flashing.
Yeah. We'll have to use the cone of silence. Was that Batman?
Yeah.
No, that's
Get smart.
Oh, there we go. I'm slipping all around on the 50s
1986.
ice skating rink here. No, but so looking forward to doing some huge things next year. And look, the second half of this year has been really building towards that, and we're trying to compress a lot of stuff, and obviously time runs away from you sometimes, but next year will be a bit more of an opportunity to, focus the time where it should be and really start doing some wonderful things, and hopefully giving us all an opportunity to promote all of our work, on a really big scale. So, once the podcasts catch up and the website gets up to where we all want it, and all the special features and recordings and book readings and audio stuff, then I'm ready to invest and try and make it the biggest thing we can in Australia, let alone the world, as far as bringing the Australian.
Yeah, we're dreaming small.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, if I'm willing to invest in Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Shiba Inu, I'm willing to invest in Australian authors.
Book
So,
lovers, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And way more panels, because we had such a good time on the romance panel, and we
was so
still
fun.
had plans for more. So we had Sandy with it, and we learned so much because I felt like we were. There was a lot of science fiction and fantasy and horror because that's okay. That's what I know. So he said, right, well, let's get people that do know romance. And we had Sandy and three others. No,
Yeah.
Claire Roden and Sue
Sue
I
Barker.
hate
I
when you.
loved,
I
I
hate when
loved
you
that
listen.
episode. That was my
It
favourite
was
episode.
so
Really
fun.
good.
Great.
We
Yes.
had a blast.
Yeah.
We had a
And-
blast.
And we learned a lot about romance and romance writing and romance publishing, which was
I
really
actually
good.
learned a lot because romance has got so many subgenres, and we all wrote across different ones. So
Yes.
yeah, that was a really fun episode.
Yeah, it was good. And fabulous giveaway and all of those kind of things. So yes, next year more panels, more chatting.
I'd be definitely interested in maybe another romance panel early, 2022, because Sandy, do you think that's going to be a whole new genre? Because how do singles find love in lockdowns or in the middle of the pandemic?
Yeah, Love and Lockdown. A few people are writing that actually.
Yeah.
Are they really?
It's- Yeah, the forced proximity trope has really kind of taken off. It's like, oh gosh, we're in lockdown. Oh no. Oh, you're cute. You're cute too.
Sandy, are you taking notes? Because I'm waiting for your next book.
I mean, really, Hayley, I think I did write the Love and Lockdown with the dating game. As I said, I didn't even realize until after I had done it. But yeah, I think it could be a new genre, Darren. There's definitely a lot of people writing that.
Well, I'm picturing like an R-rated version where, now I don't know what happens because obviously I don't use this sort of technology, but with your Tinders and all your...
Yeah, I think your wife might have a
media.
few things to say about that, Darren.
No,
If you
but
started swiping.
I'm just imagining people in lockdown going, you're within 2 kilometres, it's worth the risk, and then the police pulling someone over, running down an alley going, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, you've got a
and that's-
5 kilometre radius, and is this person in your bubble? Yeah.
And do you have to show your double vax to whoever you're running over to?
Yes.
Romantic.
There's my green spot.
And what I want to know, Kevin, is if you've had a booster, what extra
yeah.
bonus do you get?
You could have forbidden love between a vaccinated person and an unvaccinated.
Unvaccinated.
Oh, no. No,
So
don't
many
even laugh.
possibilities, Sandy. So many possibilities.
Hilarious.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
All
I'm not
right, now-
writing that.
No, but I do have to say that Sue Horsnell was our other romance
That's
expert.
right,
Sorry,
yeah.
Susan. My apologies. All right, 2022. Let's go the other way. Maria, start with you. What do you think 2022 is going to hold, writing-wise or any otherwise?
Writing wise, I have another 2 novels that I'm working on.
Brilliant. Tell us a little bit about those.
These 2 are contemporary. One of them is actually a short story that I've written for an anthology that I'm working on with 8 other women.
Mm-hmm.
The group is called Women About Women, and we have all written short stories that are going into this anthology, which we're hoping to publish early next year. And all going well, we may have an audiobook come out as well as an ebook and print.
Oh, nice.
And and one of the stories that I wrote in there is going to be a novel because, again, I've had good feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, I'm going back to my career roots and working in television, and it's going to be a very bitchy fight between 2 anchors.
Ooh.
2 TV anchors, 2 females who are very good friends and have a falling out.
Ah, nice.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
can I
Yes.
be rude and interrupt for a second? Maria, which TV network did you work for?
I'm from down the coast, so it was Win
Oh,
4.
fabulous. Okay. I used to be at ABC. Anyway,
Oh.
bye-bye.
Very
Oh my
cool.
God, I used to go out with some of the ABC boys at a certain pub in Willoughby. Anyway,
Oh, you're back when we were at Gore Hill. Yeah.
yes,
Anyway, we're not
Sensing
talking
a few
television, we're
stories
talking
there.
books.
yes, sorry.
It is a
Back-
small world.
Back to
Yes.
books.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I'm looking forward to is getting face-to-face with people. I'm going to be doing an author talk at my local library, hopefully in March. And with the Zenya Station Trilogy, I'm hoping to go and do some talks at schools.
Excellent.
So, yes, another busy year.
Yeah. So your talks at school, will they be obviously about the books, but will it be to help the kids write their own? Will it be about science fiction?
haven't even put anything down
Okay,
yet.
right.
And with this year, I mean, I would have liked to have taken it out this year, obviously, but with all the issues at school and, you know, who knows what's going to happen next year, but I am hoping that they're going to be face-to-face, not on Zoom. But we'll see what happens. But yes, encouraging, firstly, asking kids, you know, get into reading because it's so good and it's entertainment and it's not that expensive. And also encouraging them to check out their creativity. Where are they, you know, where is their brain and what can come out of that?
Maria, is there a particular uniform of authority or some sort of symbol of Zenya Station that you can perhaps get created and wear to the school? Because that'd be super cool.
Well, yes, a Hessian bag, basically.
Oh.
That's what the poor people were wearing.
We'll have to wait for eBay for that one.
So I'll maybe I can make my own. I'll get some linen Hessian or something.
But it could be a striking entrance, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah. I guess you know I could almost do a book week thing, couldn't I?
Yes.
How many schools?
Bring along my little Millennium Falcon with me.
Yes.
How many schools are you thinking of at this stage?
At this stage, only local and primary. So we'll see.
That's good. Hayley, 2022 for you. What are your hopes?
I'm going to say, firstly, I'm hoping that work settles down so I've got more time to read and write. Because this year's been a challenge. Obviously, during lockdown, you know, I still had to go to work every day, so I didn't get as much time as I wanted to write. But I am really proud of myself. I set myself a reading challenge of 20 books. Doesn't sound like a lot, but Sandy's The Christmas Swap, I've almost finished, and that will be number 20. So I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah.
So congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm hoping I'm going to set a challenge of 22 books next year and see if I can read 22 books. And I forgot to mention, I'm actually working on another little novella because, you know, not dead yet and scattered scones aren't enough when you work full time. Thought I'd throw this one into the mix. It's actually called 'Tis Not the Season to Be Molly. So it's a funny look at women and how much work we have to do at Christmas time, you know, buy all the presents for the mother-in-law, write out the Christmas cards. And she's basically had enough and she's going to go on strike. So I'm working on that little novella and I'm hoping to release that next Christmas.
Excellent.
That's great.
What a great title.
Yeah, I know I'm pretty good at coming up with funny little
titles.
And a great concept too, because I think for a lot of people, Christmas is really just that dash to the finish line and you burst through the ribbon and that's probably, I don't know, 11:30 on Christmas Day evening or night. And then you're like, thank God. And then it's like, was that the celebration? You were just chasing that ribbon? Presents here, there, food, bang, bang.
That's right. And look, Darren, all my stories are just inspired by real life, you know, and things that people can laugh at. So I really like to bring stories to life that make people laugh. So I've got a wicked sense of humour and I really enjoy writing those lighthearted stories. So, yeah, so they're my goals for 2022.
That's very good.
Done that.
I love the way that, you know, I mentioned it before, the fact that you bring real life things. And I remember, Sandy, also that you said if anybody does something outrageous or funny, you take notes. So look out.
Yeah, I steal it.
Steal it. Yes. And I think, you know, you and Hayley are very good.
Yeah, between the two of us, we'll just steal your stuff.
Sandy, if you come to Sydney, we need to catch up and you and I are going to go on People Watch. I think we'd have a great time.
Make up stories.
I think we'd have a great time.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
Next trip to Sydney, I promise.
Fantastic.
Laurie, tell us about your year. What are you hoping for 2022?
To actually be able to focus on writing, which would be great. I have all these ideas and I keep having new ideas pop up all the time. I've got almost a notebook full of stories that I want to write that I haven't yet sat down and actually started to write. So hoping that book 3 comes out next year. As I said, I don't have a date on it yet, so fingers crossed on that one. And of course Whitefire 2, when I actually get that finished. I'm hoping to have that come out. but yeah, more marketing, getting my head around more of that. I'd love to actually do some in-person visits. That would be fantastic. I've done a couple. I love doing those, particularly at schools. But yeah, really, it's just getting stuff done and sending things out. They take so long when you send out submissions or queries or whatever the case might be, and it's all that downtime while you're waiting, being able to focus on putting some more things together. You actually Veronica, you were talking earlier about getting some older female characters into a story, which I actually, funnily enough, have a fun story that I've been working on that I've been editing. I'm hoping to send it out. That one actually has 2 grandmothers.
Excellent.
Who are quite nutty. They are quite eccentric, and they are great fun to write and to read. And they're actually, I took some inspiration from my own grandmothers, as well as some older ladies that I met through my volunteering at theatre. And I'm dying to get this out so people can see it, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have a lot to say, us older women.
Well,
and my God, the stories and the fun.
Yes. Because we don't care what we look like or what people think of us. We're over that bit.
Oh, look, you guys can imagine the stories I hear in my job. I've heard some hilarious stories.
Gosh, yes. So that's what I'm hoping for next year. Obviously, I'm still hoping to focus on an audiobook as well. I'd really like to get one put together and sent out. So just a bit of everything. Working.
That's good. Now, Laurie, you have a lot of short stories, and it sounds like that is part of how you keep your creative mix happening.
Yes.
What appeals to you about the short form?
It's funny, because a lot of my writing tends to be very visual. I write like I'm seeing it in a TV show or a movie, and I find that scenes work for me, which tend to be around the 700 to 1,000 word short story, or in that case a flash fiction piece, that work really well as, say, a scene from a show that you've maybe come in from the ad break and sat down and flicked over, and it just hooks you. So those I really love to do. I'm hoping to do a few more longer ones, say around the 3,000 to 5,000 word mark. I do really enjoy those, and the 100 word flash fiction is so much fun to do.
That is such a skill.
Oh, and it's actually, I've been doing 100 word flash fictions for about 4 years, maybe longer. And I've learnt so much through just keeping it concise and trimming every word that you can possibly trim to get enough information through that it's an interesting 100 words to read. So that's actually, for me, that's been my best training ground, with really being able to describe something in the least amount of words possible.
That's good. And I would think that would translate then particularly well to something like TV or that kind of thing.
I would hope so. That would be awesome. That's what I'd really love. I'd love to. Don't all of us writers say that? I'd love to get my book made into a movie.
Yes.
But I would.
Queensland writers seem to have Adaptable, which is, they do a mentoring and they get you in front of people who pitch your book. So that's worth having.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. And having just picked up S.A. Corey's Leviathan series, which for anyone who's in sci-fi, that's The Expanse, which is on Prime, I think, on Amazon, coming into its last series. So I've gone back, of course. I'm now back on season 2 so that I can watch that. And it's amazing what they've taken from the book and been able to put into that visual media. So, it's just fantastic. Some books just feel like they could easily be written, translated, into a visual. So that's I would love that. And I think that helps with the narration as well. All the hearing the dialogue and playing with bits and pieces. So I love doing that sort of thing. Yeah. Oh, very good. Oh, it sounds like an exciting year.
Yeah, can I interrupt for a sec? I'm going to sit back here. No, but Laurie, you mentioned, it's a waiting game and, marketing and all that stuff's a bit of a hassle. Hashtag LitRatPack could be. No, think about it. But if we combine our talents, we've got resources, technologies at our fingertips. Why can't we can hashtag, LitRatPack publishing company and then evolve into maybe even television movies? Who knows? But let's start with
love it.
Darren,
love it.
It's global domination. I love it.
Let's start with publishing. Look,
If
we're all here
Marvel can
tonight.
do it, we can do it.
Yes. We're
Oh,
doing
wait.
most of the
Guys,
genres
let's-
anyway.
Let's
We
do
are
it.
Aussies. We can do anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again.
So
Definitely.
because I think Sandy, didn't you say it was a couple of people that had the force of many
Yep.
for your publishing company?
Yes, absolutely. It's
Here
a
we are,
small
a small
team.
force
It's-
just tonight, and I think we've got the force of many if we put our minds and resources together. So who knows? Maybe this is like the very first time in history in 10 years' time when we global domination, they'll look back and go, oh, that crazy episode is the first time they heard Lit Rat Pack.
Love it.
And
Lit
now
Rat Pack.
Love it.
the
I'm
only
loving
good
this,
book you
this
pick up is
publisher
Lit
name.
Rat Pack. Yeah, done.
I'm
I
into
think
it.
we're going to
I'm
have some
It's
encrypted
catchy.
emails after this
Yep,
episode.
love it.
And as Hayley said, we're Aussies and we always punch above our weight class. So
Definitely. Definitely. So what are you going to punch up to next year, Sandy?
So I've got 3 more books on my contract with one more chapter. So that's the next 2 books in the holiday romance series. They're written, they're coming out February and then mid-year. And I might revisit those characters again for a Christmas kind of reunion, maybe in a couple of years when I want to write them again. Doing the follow-up to the Christmas swap, which will be called The May Ladies Christmas.
I can't wait for that.
I hadn't planned on that when I originally wrote the Christmas swap, but I just love those characters so much, and so have a lot of readers. So I'm like, okay, we'll revisit and we'll get them all back together. But I the thing I'm really, really excited about is I've co-written this book with my girlfriend Fiona Leach. So she's a British author, but she lives in Auckland. And I pitched her this idea and we both had the month of March free. So we just got busy and we wrote the book in March. And talk about making March, Hayley. Anyway, so we made March our writing month, and then we send it off to our we share an agent. We send it off to our agent just as a surprise. We're like, hi, we did this thing, surprise. So it is literally called The Passion Project, and it is our passion project, but it's this sort of contemporary suburban drama / crime thriller. So we call it Big Little Lies meets Gone Girl, and it's set in Melbourne. And it's,
Oh my God,
it's
that sounds amazing.
It's about these 2 women who their lives are kind of interconnected, and there's this horrific crime, and it's dark, and there's, it's got some dark humor, but it's really, it's just about this woman in a loveless marriage passionless marriage who embarks on this kind of odyssey to reconnect with her passionate self, and then what happens as a result. Anyway, so we're in the last round of edits for that because our agent Lena loved it, and then she's like, but feedback, and we're like, and we're like, no, she's right. So we've been working on rewrites when we've had time.
Seems
so
like a bit of a stray from sipping on a cocktail in Santorini.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a big sort of sidestep from rom-coms. But Fee writes mysteries, and she's written kind of, more kind of gritty, gruesome mysteries and also cozy mysteries. She's also written rom-coms. She can kind of write anything. She writes screenplays. So she's been really a great collaborator, and we're that's going to be out on submission in 2022. So watch this space.
Very good.
Yeah, we just keep tagging Reese Witherspoon in our tweets. Talk about what Laurie said about it'd be great to have that film. Yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream.
It sounds amazing though.
It does
Yeah,
sound
it's
amazing.
super fun to write. It's super fun to write. And every time we do a rewrite, we're like, yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, that's so much even better. And it's got this massive twist in it. And it, like, we were so excited by the twist. And when Lena read the twist, she emailed us and said, very well done. Very, very well done.
That's
She
good.
said, you got me. And she's a literary agent. Like,
That's
she's
good
read twists, you know, like she's like, yeah, I saw that coming. She said, I literally did not see that coming. I had no idea what was going on. We're like, yes.
Oh, well
You know,
done,
like,
girl,
that-
Sandy. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's your Christmas present. You got to get that tattoo that says, I got the agent.
Yeah, yep, somewhere, like right down my thigh and like, you know, like 20 point font. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of, you know, we're excited about that. We're excited about our other stuff. We've both got books for one more chapter coming out next year, but yeah, we're kind of just like, yeah, that could be it. We'll see. It could be a different genre to write. So
Yeah, a bit
anyway,
of a pivot and
luck.
dive down there.
Welcome to the dark
Pivoting.
side, Sandy.
dark side, yeah.
It's a great place to be.
Ah.
Romance, there's tears.
Well, yeah, there's always romance, isn't there? And Kevin, tell us about your hopes for next year.
Oh, look, my hopes. I mean, besides having Virtual Insanity come out, so
Yes.
expect robots. Plus, I'm also working on my 90s project. I hope to get down to Melbourne in February. The Rainbow Literary Society, who does events with queer writers that I've been on some of their programs, is hoping to have an event in February. But watch this space. Hopefully, we're not in lockdown or nothing horrible happens, because it was supposed to happen, I think, October or November this year. But of course, it couldn't happen. The other thing I'm really excited about is that my novella Winter Masquerade is going to be an audiobook.
Yay!
That's cool.
There's this wonderful, it's all done through my publisher, and there's this wonderful British actor named John Billitho-Jones, who's fabulous. He was the first of a few who auditioned for this project. He's got the book itself is a very high fantasy. It's got an Alice in Wonderland feel, as well as a couple of other tangents as well. And when he did his audition, it was so over the top and so Monty Python-ish. You just had to listen. And you know, I just said to Raven, who runs Nine Star Press, it's like, I want him. Sign him up. And she said, "Oh, yeah, I'll send him a contract." And then, a little later on, someone else auditioned, and I listened. You know, a nice American who did a good job, but I mean, he did actually a very good job. And then another Brit who did another excellent job. But John's she's got one of those voices and one of those characters that you are not going to switch off from.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Even the smallest little phrase he phrases.
It's fantastic to have that selection.
Yeah, because unfortunately, because again, American publisher, the way they do it is through a system where there's not really many Australians. So I specifically wanted for this particular book a British voice, and even though the American who auditioned, and he put on a couple of English accents because he got the feel of this piece. When he did just the normal text, he could have been saying anything. He could have been reading out his shopping list. When he did the voices, he was amazing. But just everything else is like, are you just throwing that line away? But John Billitho-Jones, who can't start off the project yet because he's on stage at the moment, maybe doing panto in England. I don't know, but he's going to start on it in January. So that's something I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, that
My
is really
first
exciting.
audio book. Yeah.
How exciting.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Yes.
Yep. So that's pretty much my year. Next year, like I said, I'm writing a book I've called The 90s Project. I actually do have a title for it, but it's top secret.
Okay.
It's one of those phrases. Ages ago, a friend's boyfriend, who is long gone, just said it. It was a phrase he said, and I thought, that's the title of a book. I don't know what the book is, but that's the title of the book.
Oh, I love that.
One word, two
Build
words,
a book
3 words.
around
Come
the
on, give us a little hint.
And the other thing, I've always wanted to write a book about, because Warren and my husband now, Warren and I have been together for 31 years, but our early years started in the whole Oxford Street dance party, Mardi Gras.
Tell me the title is called Pingers.
No, but there's a lot of pingers in this book. And Oxford Street bars are very much part of the setting. But and then I thought, hold on, this title works with that project. So let's put them together and make that the project. So it's also a book that the two main characters are straight, they're heterosexual. So it's not geared towards my own publisher. There's lots of, they've got close gay friends and their stories intertwine. So I'll be trying to look for, hopefully, an Australian publisher for this when I feel it's ready to send off into the big, bad, wide world.
Hashtag lit rat pack.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to bring back. Yeah. We'll do that.
I'm on board.
Yeah, sounds brilliant.
We'll all act in it. We'll all try to be 20-something again.
Yeah, that's, well, no, much that, yeah.
What
was that word, Veronica, about being...
and sing at high school, so I might be able to bring something to the table.
I'm there. I'm on that.
We can all be drawn to the void, that unknown. Let's step in.
Yeah.
No, that sounds awesome. And again, I think it'd be so cool to hear different voices read your work. That's not something I've experienced. I'm not sure many writers get that opportunity. So that is amazing to be able to hear the different extenuations and all those, the different emotions through, because everyone picks a different word for a different rhythm and a beat. So
I tell you, as a narrator, I learned very quickly that authors do not like us, because having to say some of the words that authors choose, particularly when they're sci-fi or fantasy and they're made up, it is an absolute killer. I'm constantly checking how to pronounce things.
And that's why I can't read my own stuff.
I've got a story to share just for a moment. A while back, my publisher was trying to do an audiobook of my very first book, Drama Queens with Love Scenes, which does need an Australian voice. And the only person who auditioned was obviously this American guy who put on a Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, no.
The thing is, the whole book is set in the theatre district of the afterlife. People don't talk like Crocodile Dundee.
No.
So
many Australians do.
And the other thing, he even slipped up a couple of times, and I thought, didn't you think to re-record that if that was going to be all your audition? All your mistakes are in there, and then you start again, and it's like, not good. But but I'm glad we got John Bolitho Jones. Remember that name if I can't even say it. John Bolitho Jones is going to be a big star.
Very good.
Everyone's still here.
Oh, still there.
Sorry,
right.
Kevin, I thought we lost you there.
We just had a moment's pausing.
Ooh,
I was thinking
edit.
about an audio book that I'm listening to at the moment by one of my favourite Australian authors, Tracy Harding. It is a fantasy, but it's The Dreaming of Zhu Gong, and it's being read by an Australian woman with obviously an Asian background, because she does all of the names, which I would never be able to pronounce, with the beautiful, correct pronunciation, and it just makes it so effortless. Yeah. But then the text is Australian, and I first heard, the first audiobooks that I ever heard were Tracy Harding. She was one of my favourite stories, and I got them for my daughter, who was doing some travel at that stage, and then of course I borrowed them straight back from her, so that was good. It was totally for her, totally. So favourite book that you've read this year, who's can bring to mind one of their favourite stories?
Well, before anyone does, I'll just let you know that I thought I had the dream job this year, or the second half this year, because literally it's 5 minutes from my house, it's still on the beach, and just 100 meters from the beach. Your beauty. And then I realized instead of going into the city every day via train, I've gone from 2 books a week to almost 0 at the moment. With everything else.
You've lost all your commute time.
Who would have thought that I would miss commuting, which is just absolutely ridiculous. So
I've had the same
I'm
problem,
envious,
Darren.
Really?
Yeah, because I write on the train. So I've found I've really struggled to have that time to sit and write because I'm so used to being locked onto a train in my own head to just write. So I've actually really weirdly missed the commute, and I hate the commute, but I really missed it.
Yeah, it actually came with a benefit, didn't it? It's so strange. And it's like, oh, wow, that's bizarre. So, so I'm thinking maybe, well, now that it's summer, or hopefully tomorrow, I think at the time of recording, 37 degrees here in good old Adelaide on the beach.
It's only 20 here in Melbourne.
Then maybe they lied to us, probably. But it means longer nights, and that means more opportunity to do a lot of things. So, but yeah, I'm very envious and looking forward to hearing what everyone's reading, because I haven't had the opportunity to read too much. So, yeah, who's starting?
Go, Sandy. I just saw you on news.
Get the lady with trying to drink a gin.
I finished my gin ages ago. Look, I read quite a lot, and I read in and out of the romance genre. And one of the books I loved, it is a romance, but it's a Viking romance. It's by Tanya Nellerstein. So she's an Aussie romance author, and she's got this this series, the Valkyries Viking series, and it's this really strong, just like kick-ass. Can I say kick-ass?
Yes.
Kick-ass heroine. Like, she's just really sexy and amazing, and just this. I loved the Viking subgenre. I'm just obsessed. So I absolutely loved that. And an author friend of mine put out The Girls from the Beach. Her name is Andy Newton. And that book is about 4 nurses. It's based on a true story, but 4 nurses who were landed on Normandy, and then they were recruited to go behind enemy lines. And yeah, it's just this incredible kind of World War II spy thriller. That's like fantastic. I absolutely love that. I'm just kind of looking through my Kindle right now, because I'm one of those people who reads on Kindle.
I did the same thing. I've got my Kindle open too.
Yeah. I mean, look, I read read a mix of things, like the Ladies' Midnight Swimming Club by Faith Hogan, which was just this beautiful story about a little village in England, and it's about the matriarch of the village, and she's dying, and just all these gorgeous women come together and swim at midnight every night. And look, there's just so many gorgeous books out there. I'm so spoiled. I honestly love that I get to read just across lots of genres, and I read also crime fic and all sorts of things, but there's just a few.
That's good. It's research anyway.
It's research. It's a tax deduction.
Definitely. Professional library, tick.
Yep.
Kevin, you had something else.
Oh, look, I discovered she's part of the Rainbow Literary Society, a Melbourne author named KJ. She's self-published, and my God, she sells, a hell of a lot more books than I do with the publisher. But I read Art of Magic this year, which I really fell in love with. It's just a romance story between a school teacher whose father is also really sick and in critical condition in hospital, and she falls for this very empathic woman, which is where the title comes in. And I was really taken by this, because even I was reading like one of the sex scenes, and the sex scenes was very much written from the main character's head, like her doubts and fears, as opposed to just enjoying it. But it was written so sensually that Warren was next to me. I didn't realise it, but my foot was rubbing up against his leg, Like then I looked over and I said, well, this is obviously working on this character.
And the page started to warm. And the birds jumped in.
Exactly. She's got a new book out called Ingus, which is apparently a lot darker, and it is one I want to read. But one I really encourage you to read, which is a short story by a British author named Katrina Binney. It's called Desperately Seeking Spinach. It's something she's released herself, so you can only get it through Amazon download. But it's a really good story about the main character is obsessed with a celebrity chef, and the celebrity chef has just brought out a book of all spinach recipes. So she decides to get noticed by her, to be the number one fan of this celebrity chef, that she would make each of these spinach recipes day after day and put them on social media and, tag this celebrity chef to try to be, just one step closer into inner circle. It's a short story. It is so well written and a lot of fun.
Do you mean
I just found this online. It looks amazing. Desperately Seeking Spinach.
Isn't the cover amazing? Isn't the cover amazing?
Is the subtitle The Story of a Stalker, which is STORKER? Oh no! How do you stalker?
Nice one, Darren. Nice one.
This is why I'm going to go on mute again.
Yeah, it's really good. It actually has a subtitle, A Short Story of Obsession.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I encourage you to read it. You'll read it, in an hour or less. But it's just a really, really wonderful short story. And there's a lot about social media and the social media age.
Love it.
Very good.
Buying it now.
Two, yeah.
Nice.
They're the two I suggest.
Maria, have you got some picks for us?
One of my favourites this year was The Dry by Jane Harper, and the movie.
Yeah,
and the movie.
I love that too.
Saw the movie.
It's so good.
Yes, go Eric Banner. But also there was another one which was a surprise for me, Australian author Tabitha Bird. Her first book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was wonderful. It was, I
Was
couldn't
that
put
the
it down.
Emporium of Imagination or the other one?
The other one, the first one, the Impossible Days.
Ah, yes. A Lifetime of Impossible Days. Yeah. It was
That's it.
Just
That's
beautiful, wasn't it?
It was. And I've got the print version, and it has all the beautiful illustrations, and it's just a gorgeous book all round about the three Willers,
Yes.
the 93-year-old, the 38-year-old, I think, and the 8-year-old.
8-year-old, yeah. She's got a beautiful, luminous way of writing, hasn't she? Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I have read a lot of books on my little Kindle as well. A few science fiction ones. There was another person that I met on Twitter, Tom Galvin. He wrote The Auction, which was very dystopian and about students, once they finished university, being sold into companies. It was, it was quite scary, actually.
So that's science fiction? Dystopian, definitely.
It's science fiction, dystopian, and very well written. I read that in 3 days. But I haven't read as much this year as I would have liked, but that's what happens, I guess. I love the fact that, I can now go and get so many good Aussie authors as well. That's
so many available, so many.
Yeah,
where did your love of science fiction come from, Maria?
Watching TV, Star Trek and Star Wars, and reading comics as a kid. I grew up in a shop, so I got bored and used to read the comics. They were my brothers, but I still read them.
That's good. And
so you
graphic
probably got to read them
novels,
before
as they
anybody
are,
else.
made a big comeback now.
That's right.
Okay,
So,
beautiful.
Yeah, but I read across many genres anyway.
Yeah. Hayley, tell us what you've been reading. Have you had a minute to read anything this year?
I have. Now, I've read 2 of Sandy's books, The Dating Game, and I've almost finished The Christmas Swap, and Sandy knows I'm a huge fan of hers. She knows this. So I've really enjoyed both of those. But 2 other books I really enjoyed. One was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
Yeah.
Yep, that's for
That was
people
your
who.
favourite. You said that was your favourite this year.
It is. It was
Yeah.
my favourite. There's another one as well, but the Midnight Library just really makes you think. If you were given a chance to live infinite lives, what would you choose? So have many people here read the Midnight Library or
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have. Yeah. So basically, I think the main character is it Nora? I think her name's Nora from memory. And, she's very unhappy with her life. So she tries to take her own life. So it is a little bit dark in the beginning. But she's taken to the Midnight Library, where she meets her childhood librarian, Mrs. Elm, and she sort of walks her through possibilities, infinite lives that she could have lived. So it's I won't give too much more away, but I really loved that book. And the other one was The Last of the Apple Blossom by the lovely Mary Lou Stevens, who her book is on the Australian Book Lovers website.
It is, yes.
So that was another one I really enjoyed. So, a good Aussie family drama set in the 1960s, during the bushfires down in Tassie and the demise of the apple industry down there. So I really enjoyed that one as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, both fantastic books.
Very cool.
My TBR list is growing.
Yes, just adding those to your Kindle now.
Yep.
So listen to
They're buying
everybody's
it now.
listen to everybody's awesome reading. I've just realised that I've actually had 2021 has been a fantastic year of reading for me, because every time I add a book to the website, I get to read the description of the book.
Yes.
And it's literally like every email is a little bit of a present, because I open it up and then, what have we got? And the genre, and then the description, and then the cover, and it is amazing. So for someone who, obviously I have the books that I love or the genre I love, but oh my God, the different tales, the different genres, the different themes, the different everything has been absolutely amazing. And that is definitely something that represents 2021. We have got so much talent and stories out there.
Yes.
Here in Australia. It is absolutely amazing. And so I may not have read many books just yet this year, and that'll change next year, but holy moly, as the 90s.
Hey, Batman. Golly gee, Batman.
So I open up an email, a fresh submission, and say, okay, what have we got?
Yeah.
And I'll be looking, and then I'll read and go, wow, how on earth? Where did this come from? Like, it is absolutely amazing.
The breadth of creativity and imagination is just stunning.
And I think I speak for everyone here, Veronica and Darren, to thank you guys for all the work that you do, showcasing Australian authors. You have you're just wonderful. I'm just huge fans of you both. You've done a wonderful job.
Yes, absolutely.
Really appreciate it
so much.
Thank you so much.
We're only just beginning, so next year.
Watch this space. Yes.
Well, Kevin, I was thinking, yes, that would be awesome. And then hashtag Lit Rat Pack Publishing will be the next one.
Love it. Yeah.
Two
But
of them.
I think there are some great voices here as well. And we've got, I've got to get books from you, Laurie, yet, don't forget. But we've got, so Laurie reads, Kevin's got a great voice, Hayley, Sandy, Maria. I know Emily Rayburn does beautiful stories. So there's lots of people we could be setting up our own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely not silly. This is an enjoyable event. It's a very fantastic celebration of Australian Book Lovers podcast, and I thank everybody for being part of it, because you've actually, made my year, really. But yeah, it could also be the start of something huge. So who knows?
Yeah, that's it. Let's see. So, Laurie.
Yes.
What were your hits this year?
Oh, okay. I'm just going to throw out some names of stuff, because I get through a lot.
Yes.
So Amanda Bridgman, The Subjugate, that was amazing sci-fi. Legendborn by Tracy Dion. Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Priest of Gallows by Peter McLean. He's just amazing. Let's see, Husker Road by James L. Weaver. He's an indie publisher, writer that has an entire series, which is really fantastic. Emporium of the Imagination by Tabitha Bird, which I loved as well. Making March, which I loved, Hayley.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Laughing away. A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. That's an amazing series as well. I'm just getting into that one. And I've got, Iron Widow by, I'm not going to say her name right, Ziran J. Zhao. And then, gosh, what else? There's just so many. I love to read, so I will just work my way through. Growing Up Disabled in Australia, that was amazing.
Yeah, that's definitely my pick.
Yeah. So I'll stop there, but I could keep going because there's a huge number. Oh, Pause by Kate Foster. I have to mention that one because that one's so much fun.
Gorgeous, yeah. That's done really well.
Definitely.
So many good books.
Yep.
So many good ones. I've got to mention some of the ones that I've read, and I've reviewed as many as I could. So even just for the people that are on the website, brilliant. So we've got Resistance by Michaela Kopievsky. I think that's how you say it. Behind the Veil by E.J. Dawson, plus her sci-fi series, which is Awakening, Darkening, and I can't think of what the third one is. Laura G. McKay, The Animals in That Country. Love that. Older protagonist, who knew?
Yeah.
Jay Christoph's, all of his fabulous ones, True Life, Lifelike, all came out this year. Tara June Winch, Swallow the Air, that was fantastic. After Australia, challenging, but really good to read. Definitely love Tabitha Bird's The Last Circus on Earth, which was by B.P. Marshall. I think he's a Tassie author. Really good. Top End Girl by Miranda Tapsell. That was lovely. That was really nice. Really enjoyed that one. But yeah, Growing Up Disabled in Australia, just that meant a lot to me, that one. I read this book by, I don't know, what was her name? The Good, the Bad and the Undecided. That was really good.
Sounds like a good book.
Yeah. Great idea. City of Whispers by Kat Powers, South Australian author, although she's now moved back up to the Northern Territory, which is brilliant. So I'm hanging out for her second book too. Rebecca Bowyer, Stealing Time, also good. The Boy from the Mish, that was so good by Gary Lonsborough. Really, really good. Love that. And Making March. Somebody else, can't think of what her name was.
Oh, that crazy woman from Sydney. I know she writes
So
them.
funny.
I laughed. She's good with humour.
She is good.
Very good with humour.
It's wicked, I know.
No, so many good books, so many good ones. Yeah. Oh, The Dictionary of Lost Words. That was another, she's an Australian author too, isn't she? Yeah, it was really good. Nice. Well, that's kind of it. Give us one word that's going to describe your feeling for a hopeful 2022. So I'm going to start with Kevin, because you said, "Oh dear," like when people.
No, I'm sitting here and I have no idea.
No words.
Really, no words.
An author with no words. That's very sad, Kevin.
Veronica,
writer's block.
how about because we are in the company of so many fantastic authors. Look, it's cliche that we're living through, this historic times and COVID and all that. But what would you think is a new theme that we can tap into that wouldn't have existed as writers looking for themes from, human nature prior to, COVID-19?
I will go first here with that question. I mean, a lot of us have really refocused on what's important and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And even for me, and I want to share this story because just quickly, Warren and I are both retired, but Warren retired about 7 months before I did. And before I actually retired, when he was drunk, he said, "I'm looking forward to you retiring because I'll have someone to play with." And now that Warren turned 60 in January, I'm 57. And one thing over COVID when I couldn't write because we were stuck here together and I really need no one around to write, is that I've decided to write less because my usual process was having 3 on the go at one time. That each one would take years to write and one would be early in its inception, one would be about midway, one would be nearly ready to submit. But I've decided I'm just going to, promote more, read more, have more of a life, and not focus so much on writing. I'll still keep one project going at any one time, but tell myself it's okay to just, once the draft is finished, put it away for 3 months, catch up on reading, maybe write some short stories, but don't start another novel. Just enjoy life, because I'm in that age, and the whole lockdown thing has really made me think, let's play together.
Yeah, play.
Nice.
Lovely.
Play. That's it.
Play
That's
is
my
your
word.
word. Play is your word.
Thank you, Sandy.
Nicely done.
I think passion. I think I feel like Groundhog Day and the grind, and it's just what day is it? It's Blur's Day. We've all experienced that. So I just kind of want to reignite the passion that I have for my day job, which is in education, which I absolutely love, and for writing, that not be a chore, that it's something I'm just excited about. And then, of course, there's the passion project. So let's go with passion.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Nice choice. Who's next? Hayley.
I would have to say determined just to keep plodding on. I am burning the candle at both ends. I have been for a while now. But look, writing is just something I have to do. It's like, you've chopped off my right arm if I can't write. So I think just finding the balance and a bit more self-care for myself as well. I think just sort of prioritising what I want to work on and maybe cutting back on some other things, because I'm tired and I've been burning the candle at both ends. So just, I think, determined to keep plodding along, but find a balance with some self-care and look after myself, definitely.
They're good things. Laurie.
I'm going to go with imagination.
Mm.
So I was bouncing between creativity and all sorts of things, but I thought, no, imagination, that's going to be my word. I think just a bit like everyone else, plodding along, but finding time to live in the moment and just put down the pen and close the computer and actually take some time for myself, because I will, as I said earlier, I feel constantly like I should be doing something.
Yeah.
So trying to settle that, I think, that urge, while at the same time do the creative things that I want to do.
Sounds good.
Maria, what have you got for us, Maria?
Togetherness.
Oh,
Nice.
oh, that's a good one.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we've all been so separated for so long now, and maybe one of my stories will have that theme of togetherness and just spending some time with the people that you love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they are fictional.
Good point.
Well, and writing is very isolating.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's
Yes.
perfect. I like that.
Although, I've met more people in the last 3 years since I've published than I ever have. It's fantastic.
It's
So
good. The writing
true.
community is very supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just this group tonight, like, we're just all friends, we all know each other from social media, and it's
That's
just
it.
lovely.
Yeah. It's very good. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being here. Darren, do you want to wrap us up?
I'll
Like
do
a
my best,
present.
but all I can say is no, thank you, everybody. And that's obvious, but it really goes to a representation of A, the human spirit, B, the Australian spirit, and C, the power of artists that can come together and make something possible. I mean, here we are doing a podcast that we hope is going to go to a lot of people, and we're going to do our best to make it go to a lot of people. And wow, imagine all the different stories that our listeners out there can enjoy from all the guests tonight of all different styles. And, and for me, I think
hours and hours of reading.
Yeah, and definitely. And for me, I think if there's one thing that COVID has taught me, and possibly a lot of people around the world, technology will get you so far, but eventually you're just going to have to rely, like you said, Laurie, on your imagination, and a good book is going to always win. And that's why I think over the last few episodes, we do news segments and stuff. Books are increasing; they're not decreasing.
Yeah.
Imagination is increasing. Like you said, Sandy, people are in cold climates at the moment and dreaming of escaping and doing those romantic holidays in Bali. And maybe next book will be about a romantic holiday in Australia, and you get it before Christmas in England. Down here in Adelaide. no, I'm only joking.
Get to the border and it's closed.
No.
So it's a horror movie then.
That's my dystopian book. No, but honestly, it's just been amazing. So thank you, everybody. It has been an absolute honour, and the whole thing doesn't exist without you. So
and thanks so much for giving us your time today. It's been
it was lots of fun.
It was
Pleasure.
great.
Been great.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
And thank you, Darren and Veronica, for inviting us all.
Yes. You're most
Yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Have a very happy new year, and we shall see you all in 2022.
Woohoo!
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's meet again. Where magic happens.
Australian Book Lovers acknowledges First Nations peoples and recognises their continuous connection to country, community and to culture. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and honour the sharing of traditional stories passed down through generations. We're committed to a safe and inclusive welcome for authors and readers of all cultures and backgrounds, including people of LGBTQIA+ communities and their families.